Right. Again, wait a few minutes before jump into topics here, but what's the word this week, Jonathan?
Yeah, that's I don't know. I think something I was thinking about, this has crossed my mind quite a bit recently, is just like I would I would tell anybody this, but then I see other people post about it. Um, I'm really bullish on sourcing every day or close to every day, and it's hard to explain, but like you're just more on top of just little. Oh yeah, I remember to go to this site. I remember to double check on this. I'm following up on this out of stock item. Like it's so easy to forget things that you were meant to look back at, even if you write them down and stuff.
Yep.
And I don't know. It's worked. I think it's definitely worked well for me. And when I see other people talk about it, I'm like, oh, there's got to be more to it, you know?
Yep. No, it makes a lot of sense. I think it's super important to source as much as possible, even if you have, VA sourcing for you. Like you got to be, understanding the sales cycles and still being expert at Keepa. Like all that stuff's super important. If you take breaks, you're gonna potentially lose some of the edge that you've had in the past.
Yeah.
I'm equally as bullish in like understanding what products are selling for you, like really making sure that you're on top of, like I'm checking, and it's a little excessive, but I'm checking, I'll refresh my seller app, not to see like, oh, how many sales did I get, or how many sales did I get in the last hour. It's more like what items sold, because
Yeah.
it's just so much easier to replen than it is to find new products. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
obvious, but just, to spell it out, you already sourced the product from the website. Good chance you'll be, if you are replenning it, you're buying it from the same website. I've done that, dozens of times this year already, where I see something sold 3 times in one day, and I'm like, shoot, I only bought 10 of those. That's going to be out of stock before the end of the weekend.
Right.
I need to buy 20, 30 more like today and get those to my prep center as quick as possible so they get out in the next shipment. And
Yep.
that information is super valuable if you're on top of it. If you're not paying attention to that stuff, like you're never going to really be on a good replen schedule. And yeah, it all comes down, it's all practice, really. It's the same as sourcing. If you're not
No.
practicing keeping up with those things, you're not going to be as sharp as you could be. And it's kind of the
Yeah.
name of the game.
I agree. And also, I'll even, as simple as it is, what you were just talking about, I'll take a screenshot of the products that have sold and circle it. And so now it's in my photos to remind me, like, you're out and about, easy to forget. And by the way, if you sell 50 items in a day, like you test something,
Oh yeah.
3 of them sold, and a day goes by, it's so easy for that to fall through the cracks. So like whatever system you have, just have a system, and it
Yep.
doesn't have to be revolutionary.
No, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Stephanie. Yeah. Thanks for joining us again. Back on a
Al-
regular schedule, hopefully.
Alex's fault, by the way. Alex's fault.
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah. I slipped up, but it won't happen again.
I'm just teasing. Yeah.
Do you guys source off a leads list, not the actual lead, more of a rabbit trail sale going on, or do you have a list of sites you check daily? I think you got a good answer to this one.
Yeah. I've been using a leads list from OA Deals, is his name, for, gosh, probably like 8 months now. It's part of like my daily sourcing practice, I guess. Um, some of the things literally I buy, but yes, I think the real value in that is being exposed to new brands, new sites, new ideas. And if there's any variations, like usually when there's variations, there's typically more than one winner, right? So if on the leads list is brown, I'll dive into black because I know that not nearly as many eyeballs are on that. So to me, the real value in the leads list is not the literal purchasing exactly what's on there, although there is opportunity there. I think that in itself should more than pay back what you pay for a leads list. But yes, it's what you make of it with the rabbit trails and going on and diving in deeper.
Yep. Yep. Good answer there. All right, we are 5 minutes in. Let's jump into the topic for this week. And of course, if you guys have any questions throughout, let us know in the comments. We'll get to them eventually. But this week we want to dive a little bit deeper into the idea of bundling products, whether that's a 2-pack, 3-pack, 6-pack. I mean, I've sold things as large as 12 packs before. If the profit makes sense, if you're not the one prepping it and it still makes sense financially, there's a ton of benefit to it. There are some extra fees that we'll talk about, especially with prep centers. A lot of them will charge extra fees because it is extra work to do. But if you're going to be saving time yourself bundling those versus a prep center bundling them for a small fee, we'll break down the pros and cons of everything. But Jonathan, I know you're a big bundles guy. What is your hot take or your philosophy on bundling?
I think let's start by saying the theory and explanation of why they work, like why seek them out type of thing. And so I'll give you my quick backstory. I started with retail arbitrage, a lot of grocery. Bundles are great for grocery, and I really dove deep when it came to coffee K-cups, right? 1-pack, 2-pack, variety pack, whatever. And the bottom line is why it works is for a couple of reasons, which I'll kind of spell out. Basically, just for round numbers, let's say that a customer is willing to pay $10 for a 1-pack. Well, then in theory, they would be comfortable paying $20 for a 2-pack, $30 for a 3-pack, so on and so forth. Contrarily, for a 1-pack that we sell for $10, Amazon might take $4 in fees. For a 2-pack at $20, they might take $6 in fees. For a 3-pack at $30, they might take $7.50 in fees. So they don't increase the rates at the same level at which you can continue to charge to the customer. So on one end, you create more margin because the fees get reduced per unit as you go into bundles and multi-packs. For 2, you're going to have typically less competition from sellers. It's just easier to find 1-packs when you're just scanning barcodes. A lot of 2-packs and multi-packs are found by doing keyword searches, whether it's Inventory Lab, Amazon Seller Central, SellerAmp, whatever you use, as opposed to just scanning a barcode. And then for 3, sometimes there's value added. And for a customer, it's like, okay, I don't have to find the caramel and the chocolate. It's all right here. And I don't even know what the going rate is for one of these individually, but it's all here for me. So I'll just pay whatever seems reasonable on Amazon. And that to me is like the bread and butter of why they work.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. I love bundles. When I find them, I will definitely look into them. And a lot of times, kind of like you mentioned, but I'll add to it, you don't really find a lot of the 1-packs that are profitable. Or maybe Amazon you'll see this in vitamins too, right? Like Amazon's selling the 1-pack and they're dominating that listing, but the 2-pack or the 4-pack, makes sense financially, like to the consumer. So if they're going to use like a fish oil, right? And they it's like $10 for a 1-pack, but it's $32 for a 4-pack. Well, because we said the fees don't grow in a linear rate, it's more like the price will triple, but the fees will only double. So we're going to make more money on that. So for us, it makes sense to sell a 4-pack. For the consumer, it makes sense to purchase because they will save a few bucks. So it's kind of a win-win, and you'll see that more often than not with the bundles versus the single packs. So that's why for me, that's one of the biggest things why it's intriguing, is because it is an option. I mean, you could search certain websites for hours and hours, and you're not gonna, if you just search the title, right, and it only, like you said, the keyword search is huge. But if you're just searching the one product, or if you're in store scanning barcodes, you're going to miss like a million products because the bundles are where the money's at, right? It's right. The 1-packs, Amazon's just dominating. So you have to find ways to dig deeper and find those bundles. And even if it means, like, if you are online arbitrage sourcing, like, add to the title, multi-pack, 2-pack, 3-pack. Like, if it's not showing up, if you're just seeing single packs, find ways to get yourself in front of multi-packs. And if they're not for that product, then, move on, understand what you're looking at, and don't spend too much time looking at stuff that's not worth it. But one question I was going to ask you about the bundling is, sometimes you'll see listings where the same listing, right, but a different variation. You'll see a 1-pack, say, is $15. A 2-pack is $35.
Right.
but like the 2-pack will be, according to the variation ratings, sells more often than the 1-pack.
Yeah.
Do you find more risk in that type of product? Is it, if the data tells you it's worth it, do you still go for that? Do you test buy items like that more often? Or what's your mindset when you see the pricing like not make sense if you're
Yeah.
looking at the consumer side of things? Because
No,
sometimes
that's a
like
good question. So on one end, this is going to be a little more advanced. If you were to search for packs and keep a product finder, for instance, you can filter it so that it's not a variation. And if it's not a variation, the customer only sees on Amazon's screen like that 2-pack. So they don't have something side by side on the checkout screen to literally compare it to. You know what I mean? Whereas, and
Yep.
if it's a variation, if you're a customer, you'll see 1-pack $10, 2-pack $25. And if I'm a consumer, I'm like, I'll just buy 2 of the 1-pack, right, and save $5. But another thing, so when I see that, I tread more lightly, because I think a big part of being a seller is putting yourself in the shoes of a customer. And sometimes that's physically, what do they see in front of them if they're buying, right? You know, in a different angle, I would say this: a lot of people buy stuff, and then when they're out of it, they just go to their recent orders and they just buy more of it. They're not looking to price shop, right? And so I think that's where some of those sales come into play too. So even if it logically doesn't make sense, but Keepa says they're selling, I would tread more lightly. But I also understand now that sometimes you just chalk it up to being Amazon, you know?
Yep. And just to reiterate that little spiel you said recently, just now, the ease that which Amazon makes it to reorder products is crazy. Like they literally, you could search fish oil. If you bought a fish oil product, it'll pop up as the first option and say purchased, you know, December 2023. So you could literally hit the buy now button. You don't even have to add it to your cart. You just go buy now. They pop up your payment and your delivery address. You hit submit and you already reorder that without, like you said, without seeing other variations, without comparing price to other listings. Like it's very simple. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where the pricing there does make sense.
Yeah. I definitely have noticed though, like if a 1-pack's going for $10 and like we were saying, like it's not proportional, I do find that does affect sales because of, you know, the obvious reason. Like I said, like
Yep.
you're only going to get a portion of sales from people that are just rebuying, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not
so
that's, I mean, we could go on a huge tangent on topic from like perspective of the consumer, because
right.
there's a ton of different, you know, other examples, whether it's like something's priced super high. You see a ton of listings where Amazon's selling it at 15, they go out of stock, all the third-party sellers are listed at 30, and then maybe the rank starts to climb, and then you have to ask yourself, like, if I were somebody, is it really worth spending $30 on, you know, something that's easily found in other stores, let alone Amazon, for $15? Like, are you willing to pay double, or are you willing to go find it somewhere else? So, I mean, more often than not, that they're going to buy from Amazon, but there are some listings where you'll see the rank just skyrocket when the price jumps like that, when Amazon goes off the listing, because people just aren't willing to pay, you know, $60 for like a replacement or a bike pump, you know, like, so whatever, something that's like usually pretty cheap, and then the price just skyrockets.
Yeah, or at least not nearly at the same velocity, you know?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we can go with some questions here. Hey guys, how's it going? Can you explain the out of stock Keepa product finder searches that you showed in yesterday's video, Alex? Do you source that exact product that shows in Keepa product finder? Do you check the variations for that product? Yeah, those searches are come up with some pretty cool products. Let me just make sure.
What was the gist of your search, Alex?
Basically, I was searching products that have gone, who had at least 30-day average, had at least 3 offers or 4 offers maybe, and then current offers were 0.
Okay.
So, and then everything under like a 250K rank or 220K rank or something like that. So products that, you know, move quickly normally, but you know, are currently out of stock. And then I was just kind of going through like different categories. So I would just split it up by category to make the bulk of the searches like look less, you know. So
Yeah.
Health and household only had like 60 products. Clothing had like 600 or something. So it's,
Yeah.
you break it down that way. So I am sourcing the exact product on those only because, I mean, you can look at the variation, right? But a lot of times the reason that product came up in our search is because it meets the exact criteria we're looking for. So, that out of stock product, right? Maybe it just went out of stock because it wasn't available on websites, but we marked it, put an in stock alert on it. And then, once it goes in stock, we're buying that. But some of these other products don't fit that same criteria. So, even if it's a good variation or there's a bunch of variations and only that one style or size is out of stock, that's the only one that we really care about. The other ones maybe are in stock, but they're not profitable, right? Because we're playing with price too on this search. So to try to sum it up, yeah, you want to kind of stick to the products that are showing up in these searches only because these are the ones showing you out of stock and the competition changes, right? And that's where we're getting the advantage with this specific search. So hope that answers the question there. Flats says, I keep track of my monthly spend goal and OA buys using a spreadsheet. Do you guys track this and do you use something other than a spreadsheet?
I mean, I think doing it that way is fine. To be honest, I use one credit card for all of my OA purchases. So it's very, very easy to just check every couple days and see where I'm at type of thing. But whatever works for you, everyone, some people break it down to stay on track daily, weekly, whatever works for you. But I just think it's probably, it doesn't hurt to track it. So however you find works for you, don't overcomplicate it.
Yep. Yeah, I think I've mentioned this before, but I did build a spreadsheet for myself with some macros built into it. I had someone build one for me, and it tracks my purchases, but also tracks like projections for my spending, how that equates to future revenues and stuff, which it's just helpful to understand like where you're at. And if you want to achieve a certain goal, like how do you get there? And a lot of times just monitoring your spend and increasing your spend and buying good inventory is a good remedy for increasing and growing your business. But yeah, tracking in any way is going to be better than just not tracking at all. That's guaranteed.
No, if you're just winging it, it's hard to stay on track. That's for sure. But also something I haven't done but would like to start. I don't know if I want to start doing it, but like it could be time consuming, but kind of keeping track of all of the percentages I get back on Rakuten and things like that. So I have an idea of like how much I've earned or what I'm averaging instead of just checking them and just like, oh, I have this much in this account. You know what I mean?
Yep, definitely. Stephanie asks, can you recommend categories where we won't have to compete with wholesalers besides sneakers/clothes?
I think you're going to have wholesalers in everything. It's just a matter of finding the products that they're not on. I don't know that there's one specific way. I mean, I filter out to try to eliminate private label sellers by setting a minimum number of like historic sellers and keep a product finder. Like you can do it like 3+ sellers on average, which typically eliminates private label. But I don't know how to eliminate it. The only thing I could say is if you're familiar with looking at, if you go to the offers tab in Keepa, you can see all of the sellers on a listing and you can see how many review counts they have. Somebody doing online arbitrage is going to be essentially from 0 to, I would say, multiple hundreds. Like I've been selling for 4 years and I have like around 250 to give you context, right? So once it's above 1,000, I would start to say probably starting to compete with wholesalers, but I don't know a better way to like filter that out per se. And I don't know categories. I think wholesalers are in every category.
I was going to say, I think you can't really avoid it. You just have to know what to look for. And if you suspect wholesale on a listing, like you mentioned, a couple things to look at is somewhat offer counts, but also who's on the listing. If you see some, there's 3 people on the listing or 4, but they all have 10,000 reviews or more, that's a good sign that it's wholesale. Is the price super steady? If you're seeing a flatline price and it only ticks up and down here and there when another large seller gets the buy box for the little stock they have, that's another red flag. So you just gotta, learn to understand and if you're in certain categories long enough, you'll start to see those types of charts and listings more often, and you'll be better at or more equipped to skip those quicker and move on to the online arbitrage listings that you want to be in front of the whole time. So
yeah.
Matthew asks, is there a catch-all for phone numbers that you guys use?
Go ahead.
There is. Is that some free game we want to be dropping here? I mean, there's a couple apps out there. It's like, I think Text Now is the one that a lot of people use. You can change your phone number for free, basically. Get a couple different phone numbers there, but the catch-all email, I think, gets you the most. A lot of sites will just have like such an easy 10-15% with a catch-all email. Phone number helps too. I mean, but a lot of times you can't use like a phone number discount and a email discount at the same time. So as long as you have one or the other, better than nothing.
I've never used one, so I just learned something. In my head, I was only thinking the only time I have an issue is like if you try to you can use a catch-all email, but then you use the same phone number and they're like, oh, the phone number's already been used. So as I saw that question, I was like, if that doesn't exist for that instance, it would make a lot of sense. I didn't really think about promotional stuff because, like you said, I think a catch-all email is pretty much going to get you what you need to get. But yeah, I'm sure there are instances. I think that's helpful. I'm glad he asked.
Yep. Yeah. There are some instances where like phone number works. Like I don't use it too often, but because a lot of times the email, right, gets you for Dick's Sporting Goods. I mean, that's like a pretty well-known example, but they give a 10% catch-all for email, and then the phone number is $20 off 100. So you're limited by maxed out at $20 off, but 10% could get you. If you spend $1,000, that's $100 off. So you can buy more, obviously, with the email catch-all.
Cool.
When you find a product that's not currently profitable, what tends to prompt you to add it to a watch list versus moving on completely? That's a good question.
For me, you kind of have an idea if it's in the realm of possibility. So like if you're looking at it and say, oh, I just need it to be $3 cheaper for it to make sense, $5 cheaper, like that's one. And then you can get kind of more experienced, and I don't want to hit you with too much confusion, but to me, there's no downside of saving it, because even if today you don't understand why it's close, there's really no benefit of moving on by having it, added to a Google Sheet. Or even if you create a column and say, hey, this is nowhere near profitable, but it sells fast, or something like that. Or I've sold this brand before and it sells well. Once you can take like the ASINs and you can like upload them into Keepa Product Finder, for instance, and you can filter by, let's just say hypothetically, buy a box that's increased by 40% over the last 30 days. And so that might happen. Who knows? Maybe one day it's a high demand item and it'll be a major shortage of stock. And you just happen to catch it at the right time. So I don't think there's any downside. Now, yeah, once you get going, you kind of have an understanding of like, even if I got 50% off, this would only make me $2. It's never going to happen, right? The price never fluctuates. But until you get there and you're confident that there's no chance, there's not a whole lot of downside.
I agree. You don't want to get bogged. You don't want to add every, semi-decent looking product to your list and then have, too many leads to look through in the future. But yeah, if it's got some potential, like you said, a fast mover, I mean, the benefit of catching like a sub 10K sales rank in any category when there's low competition, you'd be surprised. I mean, this maybe is in December or, even in the summertime, you can sell 20, 30 items of something in one day if you are, low competition and it's a fast mover. So
yeah,
keeping an eye on certain listings can really be beneficial. So yeah, I'd definitely put more on the list because like you said, there's just not a lot of downside to doing that.
And I would say and this is realistic. If you think that if you think that a 20% off discount and or a 10% cashback like Rakuten could make it worthwhile, well, that means it's within striking distance, because there will be a day that almost every product is 20% off and or combined with a high cashback day. So I think that's like, if I had to give it to, like, instead of just saying, yeah, whatever, just save it. If you think you're within, let's just call it 30%. If you had a 30% off coupon and that would make it make sense, that's within striking distance.
Yep. Yeah, because you just never know when certain sites during certain holidays, they'll just run a crazy sale, or, they run a, say like a Vitacost. It's a brand that but they only give you 20% off site wide ever. Like that's the most they're going to offer for a site wide sale, but they do run like brand specific sales that you can stack sometimes. So
Right.
It's like, boom, 25% off the brand plus 20% off site wide. You have the lead track, so you're ready to go. When that sale happens, you can finally pull the trigger on it, which is a big advantage over a lot of people that are just catching it on the back end or finding it at the end of the sale. Like you already bought some, you're ahead of the game. Let's jump back to bundles a little bit more, because I feel like we didn't fully exhaust that discussion, and there's so many things to talk about. Do we want to, unless you have something specific you want to talk about with bundles? I was thinking we talk more about like the fees side of things, because I do think bundles potentially scare people away, especially like prep centers. And there's just a lot of fees involved there, but like opportunity costs could be completely worth it, especially depending on the bundle, depending on what the prep center offers. So just to iterate or reiterate, because I've worked with multiple prep centers, I've researched multiple prep centers. Some will offer a flat fee up to, say, 6 units of a bundle, and they'll charge you an extra $1 for 6 units, up to 6 units. Then 7 to 12 units, they'll charge $2 or $2.50. Some will literally add 50 cents per unit, right? So if it's their fee is $1.50 normally, then it's going to be $2 for a 2-pack, $2.50 for a 3-pack, $3 for a 4-pack, right? It just keeps 50 cents extra per unit, or sometimes it's way more. I've seen somewhere they charge $1.50 for 1, $3 for 2, $4.50 for 3. Like those types of prep centers clearly don't want your business for bundle items, because it's not worth their time. So they charge way too much for it. Yeah. But I guess what are your thoughts on the opportunity cost side of things of prepping bundles yourself versus, maybe you're saving a few bucks on the prep fee if it's a cheap item. Yeah. Versus, saving time, because it does take a while to polybag them. You have to print out extra stickers for, say, this is a set, do not separate, whatever you got to do. So there is some prep work involved, and is it worth it?
I think inexpensive bundles, typically, especially the higher quantity bundles, 6-pack, 8-pack, whatever, that are inexpensive, are going to only make sense if you do them yourself. So, like, let me give some context. Let's say you do like spice packets. I find these to be like higher quantities isn't unusual. Let's say you do a 10-pack of a spice packet. Each spice pack costs you like $1, right? So you're spending $10 total, sales tax 7%. You're paying $10.70 all in. If you sent that to a prep center, you could be looking at $16, and that's not unusual. Even if you save sales tax, you're missing out. You're paying $5.30 more than if you did it yourself, which is probably eating your entire profit margin. So that's like a really good example of, and that's an extreme example of, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Some prep centers are much more bundle friendly, right? If you get into expensive bundles, let's say you're spending, for a round number, $20 per item for a 5-pack, right? So $100, it would cost you $107. And instead it costs, $100, and you pay $5 for bundles, right? Or even $7. So it's a wash, but now you don't have to do it, right? So I think price is going to come into play big time here. And, I think for me too, frankly, bundles take up a lot of space. They're not as smooth to pack, especially bulkier ones. So I think that for some people, that are still in the prep and pack stage themselves, you're going to find less competition on bundles, because for a lot of sellers, they don't want to pack and prep themselves anymore. And also a prep center eliminates all of the profit. So if you are willing to prep and pack yourself up to a certain point, you're going to have less competition, and less competition always means like more opportunity for you. So you just gotta weigh it. It's a case by case thing. There's no blanket statement.
Yep. Yeah, you said it well there. It's kind of what work are you willing to put in? And again, my thought on it is if you're going to save a good chunk of money, like you said, if it's a smaller, even like 3 packs of vitamins, right? If I'm spending, like, it's a Walgreens sale and I'm getting them for like $6 each, so I'm paying $18 for a 3-pack. It's going for $40, but the prep center's charging $1.50 per pack. So the $4.50 basically total for the whole prep, when you could do it for, what's the sales tax on $18? Like an extra 70 cents, 90 cents, whatever it is. So, you're saving $4 there, like, and you have 10 of them, 10 bundles. So, that starts to add up. And to me, that's worth packing yourself, even if it's a small shipment. I think that that's going to be beneficial to you if you have the time. For me, I'm still on the 1 shipment a week train. I still am like just getting enough units to my house because I do have like a semi-larger catalog of like pretty cheap items where, not like small and light type cheap, but cheap enough where the prep fee is just, at least $1 more than my sales tax. And to me, if I'm buying 20 units, saving $20 there, that's a big, that's a chunk of profit right there. But if it tanks, you want that extra margin built in, or, whatever happens to the listing. So, I think bundling yourself can be super beneficial, especially for beginners. Like, because some prep centers, are just not bundle friendly. They will make it known by showing you they are going to charge you an arm and a leg just to bundle a 2-pack because they don't want to do it. And it can take time, but some like multivitamins, if you have the right size poly bag, it's real quick to throw them in. I always have with my Rollo printer, I always have a big stack of like 100 labels of the do not separate tags. So I can slap one of those on, slap the barcode on. And it doesn't take too much time. And I've been doing it long enough, obviously, where I'm, pretty efficient with that type of stuff. But whatever you can do to set yourself up to be a little bit quicker on the prep side. But I think if you're doing bundles, like you said, there's less competition. But if you're early on in your journey, in your Amazon journey, and you are finding some bundles, I think it's beneficial to pack that stuff yourself just to learn about, what it takes to pack bundles, multi-packs. And then if you are going to save some money versus time, I think you probably, that might be more beneficial to you in the beginning anyway. So.
Yeah. And so to just kind of bring 2 things together, for 1, bundles are harder to find. And for 2, even those that can find them don't do it sometimes because they don't want to prep and pack. And it would only make sense if they prep and pack. So now you're creating a little bit of just a wall, of like less and less competition. So that's, I think, a great place, especially early on in the journey when you're willing to do that stuff, to put a lot of attention there. And by the way, I think I think we kind of talked about it sourcing wise, but like a lot of these is you're going to have to type in keywords. So I want to, before I forget, mention like keywords I would use: pack of 2, bundle, multi-pack, variety pack, all of these things. And I know it's time consuming early on, but like you find some good bundles, I find those are typically steadier. Again, because of all the reasons we've mentioned. And you can do that in your sourcing app. And if you have like a coffee brand and then you could do pack of, variety pack, blah, et cetera, you can not just do that, but like, let's just, I don't know, Starbucks, not just Starbucks pack of 2, Starbucks blonde pack of 2, Starbucks dark pack of 2, Starbucks variety pack. Play with all of those in whatever sourcing thing you use. But also, if you don't know a brand or just want to go like start with grocery and coffee, you can also, in Keep Up Product Finder, there's a text field. You could put pack of, and all these different phrases in there as well. There's other filters, but I actually find that to be the most effective.
One thing I thought of when you were talking here is, So once you find the multi-pack, right? Because a lot of times there it goes both ways, right? Depending if you're reverse sourcing, if you're manual sourcing, if you find the item and then you find a multi-pack, obviously you're looking for, a multi-pack that fits the product you're looking at. If you find the multi-pack on Amazon and now you're looking for it profitably, I've found that sometimes it helps to actually, when you're transferring, right, when you're searching like Google, delete delete the multi-pack, delete the 2-pack, because it does skew your search a little bit. And sometimes you'll find the single pack on a Vitacost is actually way cheaper than, what the search with pack of 2 is going to give you, or, whatever it is. But I think just a small tip there. Sometimes I find that the search just doesn't show up how you want it to when you do have like variety pack or pack of 3 in the title.
Yeah.
Try deleting it out of there, change up your title a little bit, and see if you actually get a better search, because sometimes that'll put you in front of the right product on the right website.
Yeah, and another thing too that crossed my mind, we're talking about taking one unit and turning it into a multi-unit. Contrarily, there's also, and this is a great way to get into Amazon to Amazon flips if you're not familiar with that, or even just in general. But like Amazon, you can seek out, they do like a lot of like 12 packs of things, right? Well, we can take that 12 pack, buy it from Amazon cheap, and now find the 3-pack listing. And so we buy a 12 pack from Amazon, we break it down to 4 different 3-packs, and there's also opportunity there. So on one end, it's combining one unit to make a multi. On the other, it's breaking down a bigger pack into smaller packs, and both of them can be advantageous.
Yep. And then another thing that I just thought of too with the Amazon to Amazon, you can find some product types or brands, right, where Amazon has the 1-pack for say $10, and then you go and find another listing, completely not a variation of that same listing, but you'll find another listing with the same brand, right, a 3-pack going for $60, and you can buy from Amazon, bundle them together as a 3-pack and sell it on the other listing. I haven't done that a ton, but it's an option. So yeah, you can get really creative with bundles, which is awesome. And the lack of competition, I think you'll see on some of these bundles compared to like the single packs. And you'll see it where, let's just say like a vitamin pack. It's easy as an example, but you'll have the single pack. Maybe Walgreens is running a big sale on that vitamin, right? The fish oil or whatever. And you see the single pack listing already skyrocketing in offer counts, but you just won't see that as much on like a 2-pack or a 3-pack. So yeah, you'll see those things, just pay attention to them, understand, why they're happening. Check others when you do find packs and you maybe found something profitably. Doesn't hurt to check, are other sites running sales on that same product? Is it really easy to find here, or am I doing a lot of digging with a lot of discounts? Because just because multi-packs are less saturated in general doesn't mean they're always, much less competition. You'll find some multi-packs that just, climb to 70, 80, 100 offers because it's such an easy find and everyone's willing to do it because it's a simple 2-pack and it's a huge profit number compared to the 1-pack listing right next to it. So, yeah, there's a lot of things to pay attention to, but just understand how easy it is to find. I feel we could preach that with almost every topic we talk about because it is so important. And listings tank so often that you always have to keep that in mind. But any comments on that?
Yeah, I think just something that crossed my mind. For one, at least for me, and it logically makes sense, if you are actively seeking out packs and bundles, I find that grocery and like you've been talking about multivitamins, supplements, stuff like that, that's where I have found the most amount of bundles in those 2 categories. So if you specifically want to seek that out, I think those are 2 good places to start. Also, if you find a brand, let's just say a coffee, again, Starbucks, you find when you're doing a search, there's 20 listings that come up, a 2-pack, a 3-pack, a 4-pack, right? Like that probably means like Starbucks Blonde, if you find it as a 2-pack and a variety pack, there's probably more out there, right? So if you can dig a little deeper and try to get to those, the ones that maybe don't appear to all the sellers, you'll have a major advantage. Sometimes that comes in under variations. Sometimes it's its own listing. Whatever the case may be, I guess my point is this: typically where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So like if you see multiple listings for an item you're looking at, keep going. Like there should be. There's so many lists. There's so many products I have that there's a 1-pack. Frankly, there's multiple different 2-pack listings. There's multiple 3-pack listings. There's multiple, you know what I mean? So what I like to do is just evaluate all of them, and it's a good way to hedge your bet too. All right, I'll throw some at this 3-pack and I'll at this listing, some of this 3-pack listing, as long as they both look good. I'm just diversifying my risk a little bit.
Yep. And you might find one sells a lot faster than the other, or the offer count stayed low on one and the offer count shot up on the other. So
yeah,
now you know if you want to replan where to put your eggs. One thing I was gonna mention that we haven't really talked about is bundling different products together.
Mm-hmm.
So easiest example is like a shampoo and conditioner bundle. You'll find the single product is, just selling the shampoo by itself, or even a 2-pack of the shampoo might not be profitable. But if you get the shampoo conditioner combo, I've sold, bunch of those types of bundles where it's, you'll find both items are on sale, but by itself, you're not going to sell it profitably, but the bundle is going for, double of what the single is. And then the fees, again, don't go up exponentially. So it's actually profitable to sell those types of items.
Yep. Totally agree. Yeah. The thing, it's funny you say that. Shampoo conditioner is a perfect example. Also, I think about that. I'm like, I hate the pump bottles and stuff like that too. So another reason, if you're willing to do that properly, that you have an advantage.
Yep. Yeah. That also, you got to take that into account. If you have to tape the seal or the pump bottle, right? If that thing comes undone in shipping, you're going to have a mess and then returns. But so you've got to add tape or whatever. That all adds to your prep time. So, and prep centers, they know how to prep those kinds of things without them breaking. Otherwise they'd get too many complaints.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Stephanie, did you hear about Aura's new early stager plan? You get the AI reprice for $27 a month, only available to sellers making less than 10K. Interesting. No longer than 12 months.
I haven't heard anything about that. But to be honest, I'm also not actively seeking out new repricer, and it hasn't come across my plate. I use Profit Protector Pro, which I really like. I used to use Aura before it was AI, and it's good. Not familiar with it, but to be honest with you, any of the major repricers, I'm sure, are good enough. So if that is, which seems like a great deal, I would say it's probably worth checking out, to be honest with you.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. That's 27.
I think most repricers know too that the headache of switching, as long as you're pretty much happy with them. So it's kind of smart on their end too, to kind of get you in now. Cause as long as they're doing their job, you're going to stay with them for a while. Cause it's just a headache to switch for no particular reason.
The only sellers I know that switch are ones that are doing huge numbers, and they know a solid repricer will actually modify their sales and how many they're getting. It could be wholesale too, right? But yeah, the average seller, even like you and me that are doing decent numbers, it's just too much headache. I've been using Be Cool for so long. Someone could tell me the next repricer is amazing, and I'm just not switching because I'm so efficient with repricing. My twice a week on it. Why try to learn something new unless I really have a lot of downtime? So yeah. If you find something you like, definitely become an expert at it, and it'll increase your efficiency like crazy, and hopefully
that price is really good. So yeah, I would jump on that.
Yep. Isn't GoAura pretty expensive once for their base price though? So will that 27 jump to $250 or $500 or something, or are they not that high?
I thought I paid $100 a month. It could have changed, and I don't know.
100 sounds about right. I know one of them is Pocket Protector Pro 500. Isn't one of them? Really?
No, that's Seller Snap, which I previously had.
Oh, gotcha.
And I had to. That was too big of a pain point. I had to dip. Yeah.
yeah, for the increase in value, probably wasn't quite enough for a
Yeah.
$400.
And then they had like a glitch, and I basically reached out saying, "Hey, this obviously has drastically affected sales for a couple of days. I'd like a free month," something very reasonable. And they, gave like a generic 25% off. And that was what I needed as a boost to be like, all right, see you later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah. We're probably going to go maybe another 5 minutes, maybe a
Yeah.
little less. So ask your last final questions about bundles or just anything Amazon. We're happy to help. How are you guys dealing with new placement fees?
So first thing I would say is we're happy to answer it, but we also made a video on this, I think 2 weeks ago. So a full, more in-depth thing.
Yep.
But to me, it hasn't changed anything. I try to have the right settings in place. Using a prep center, I just have it set so that like it's as cheap as possible, right? For that stuff. But summary is I don't get too caught up in it. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. I try to be smart with the settings, but it doesn't really change my day to day.
Yep. Yeah, I would just say go watch our live 2 weeks ago. We the whole episode was basically on the placement fees, and we had a lot of good discussion there. There's a lot of good questions in the chat too about it. So, Jonathan, do you read comments on your YouTube videos? Come on, dude.
I do. I don't always get back to them in a timely manner, but it's been on my to-do list to I have like 8 videos in queue right now that are literally uploaded. I need to just make thumbnails and stuff. So I'm getting back into it. To be very honest, it's a very ebb and flow game. When I'm in it, I'm pretty in it.
Yeah.
But if there was something that you wrote, maybe, and if I didn't, if you wrote the really nice thing that it's been helpful, then I did see that one. If you did, I did read that. I apologize if I didn't respond about just how it's been helpful. And if I'm delusional, just completely ignore that. But yeah, I'm trying to get back to it, to be honest with you.
Yep. And I dropped a new YouTube video today. So if you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's all about a couple different niche Keepa product finder searches that are going to expand your sourcing knowledge a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Any last questions? If you guys don't have anything, we'll be wrapping up here soon. What were you going to say, Jonathan?
I was just saying, Keepa product finder is fantastic. It's
so many. I mean, there's just a million different searches, and I'm always researching other people to find searches too, because you can only do so much with the knowledge but somebody else always knows. Oh, modify the 30-day average or change this on the price, and you might get a different search result. So
yeah. All right, Stephanie, I apologize if I haven't got back to you, but I do appreciate that honor, and I'm glad that you're getting some help out of him. I really am. And if you ever have any specific questions, I mean this wholeheartedly. DM me on Instagram. That's the best way for me to not miss something. To be honest, YouTube can kind of get lost in the mix because there's so many videos from so long, right? But I'm gonna make a point to seriously get. As I said, I have literally 8 videos in queue, so I'm getting back into the swing of things with YouTube. So I'll be there, and I'm glad it's helpful.
All right. Looks like we got all the questions answered, but hopefully you guys enjoyed our discussion on bundles, if they're worth it, how they interact with prep centers, and everything in between. So if you guys enjoy this type of live, Jonathan has a YouTube channel. Duke does Amazon, posts a lot of great videos on how to source everything Amazon. He's posting a bunch of videos in the near future. I have my YouTube channel as well, AC Flip 17. Follow us both on Instagram, and we will see you guys next week, same time, Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Standard. That's going to be that's our time that we do this live. So if you guys enjoyed the lives, we're trying to go every week. So see you next week.
See you guys.